But yeah, let's go over some of the effects I'm using. I'll just like gather all the effects which I'm actually using, and we should start out with, let's see, color corrector first, then Sony color curves, so you can see them up here. I don't know if I've highlighted my mouse, so I hope you can see it and can follow probably. Then what else do we need? Sony saturation adjust. You can use sharpen. I sometimes use it, and I will definitely use it for some of the clips. For example, for those right here, which are MP4, not for the WMV and the AVs. I mean AVIs, because they're already good enough. So I will just let that not use it. I will normally just like use it and reduce it to none or just to 0.1. What else do we have? Twixster. I will go over Twixster and rsmb in a minute because they're like separate effects which are pretty CPU intensive. But yeah, okay, so those are my the settings I'm using mostly. Let's just find a nice actual part of the video where I can show you that. For example, like this here. So if we increase the, I have a couple of them. First would be CZ1, which is this right here. It isn't really doing much. It's basically just, since we all know there's like a kind of blue filter above most of the Battlefield maps, I've just pinched it a little bit towards the yellow side of things, and I've increased the, my thing is in German, but the actual like saturation, the amount of color correction, the amount of color you increase, I've put it a little bit more to 1.4 right here. So you can just play a little bit around with it. There's not too specific. Right here I think I've increased even a little bit more. Always depends on the clip how good it actually might look. Right here, another thing without any color changes, only increasing the brightness a little bit. I normally go with that one or with that one. For that one for commentaries mostly, this one for montages, because I will have another one. This right here is pretty easy. I have a preset, Contrast HD. So you see it makes the picture a little bit brighter, and it will actually get a little bit darker after rendering, so it might look a little bit overkill in the preview window right here, but will look a lot better in the final product. And what I've done right here is just put those and drag them up here. You can see this makes them really bright. This one can make it like brighten this way. And you can just play around with it a little, and if you want to like copy mine, I just have this line kind of. It's not the exact thing, so let's put this one again. So for the saturation adjust, which is actually the main like thing which I think makes my monitors stand out a little, because I like having them like with a little color correction stuff and saturation adjust, because I'm not a big fan of just like epic music and put the clips in, no sync, no color correction. I think this looks a little boring sometimes. So what I'm doing is, let me see, low montage. This will definitely look overkill right here because I have it in comparison with, not in comparison, but in addition to the other one. But what it basically does, maybe I can find a better clip to show it you guys. It'll increase some of the actually strong colors, so it's kind of a Sin City effect. You can see the red right here and the blue. Everything is pretty strong, and the stuff which has like not too much color, like the ground, the weapon, and those containers right here, they are getting actually gray or becoming gray. So if I can show you right here, you can see like where the sun is like coming down. It's actually bad clip since there's like a little drag in there. Yeah, another downside of this of course would be if the map has lots of color already, like Marcos Monolith, you should probably go without both because it just messes up. You should definitely keep the contrast though. And yeah, like I said, you should always look depending on how the clip actually looks like. For most clips although, especially on the riverside right here, if you take both of them, it normally looks a lot better. I see my Vegas is refusing to show it in the preview right now. It's no problem, we just go to another clip. Still refuse. For example, right here. And this works especially good if you're having AVI files, or just WMV, or just like files with good quality in general. Because, for example, this one is recorded with the Live Camera HD and MP4, and it's already pre-rendered, and that's why it's like kind of gray and like washed out. This one is I think it wasn't recorded in AVI but rendered to MP4, so it still has like the good colors and stuff. And this was just recorded straight to MP4. So if you want high quality, you should definitely record in AVI. Again, I will make an also a render settings tutorial, as well as like I said, render settings tutorial. What else? And the review of the Mirillis Action so that you guys know what like software you can use for the best settings, like to get the best settings on YouTube with the rendering and the recordings themselves. Okay, the last two things I want to go over is first of all Twixster. And I think all of you know Twixster already. I'll just turn those off to make the preview faster again. It's basically a really slow motion. Just let me see the part where, right here. So if you want to watch the Twixster, it kind of takes a while, so you have to mark the the area with the Twixter, which is this clip right here. Then you hold down Shift and press B, like Bravo, and we'll kind of pre-render it. You can see this takes a little while, but like this, you can actually see the Twixter like without any lag. My program actually lags quite a bit, even though my CPU is overclocked to 4 GHz. But now you can see right here, really slow motion. And what people really tend to do, and this really looks crappy with Twixster, is the ghosting. So you can see like some kind of warping towards the gun and towards all stuff. So you should only use Twixter if the image is kind of moving still in general, if there are not too many big movements. Because what Twixter does, it takes one picture and another one, and it will kind of like render the pictures in between which are not there. That's also why it takes like a longest time to just watch it, and it takes even longer to just render it. So you should use like a really low speed, like 5%. I think right here I've used 1%. So let's just see it. Oh no, I used 5% right here. And those are my Twixter settings. You can just copy them. Like I said, you will get ghosting if your speed is not low enough, and also if there's too much movement on the screen right here. So this was actually a pretty good example, because the gun and the heli themselves aren't really moving that much. You can see the rotor blades of the heli. They're moving like really slow. And yeah, that's how I use Twixter. I'm not using it too often because normal slow-mo works for me better for syncing. This is just to highlight some certain stuff and to show some beauty of the graphics actually. But yeah, my Twixter also like bugs out sometimes. That's why I'm using it not too often. Then something else which I'm using, let's put this on again, which I'm really using, or really like to use, which makes it look a lot smoother, because we all know YouTube renders the videos down to like 25 or 30 frames. And it's called Really Smart Motion Blur, or the short form would be rsmb, which is this right here. Edit. And if your render times are normally around 10 minutes, or for me like the montage with all the color correction and saturation adjusts and also the contrast adjustments, it can take well, like up to 40 minutes if I render it in WMV, because it takes a lot more time. And if you put on rsmb, it even takes a lot longer. So this is my setting, which I actually copied from Ash 8, so shout out to him. And yeah, this is just what it does. Every time you're moving, well, you can compare it to Twixter, but instead of making it slow, it makes it blurry. So if you're moving the picture from one to one, it will get a slight motion blur to make it look smoother. Although it won't make it as like, it will not make it blurry. Like sometimes you can see it at the fonts, the writings, the letters, the text down there, but only if you're moving, which looks totally fine. So if you have motion blur enabled in-game, you probably will not need this, because that's basically what it's doing it, but it's just like a post-process effect in Vegas instead of in the game, if you do not like playing without, better said with, the Real Smart Motion Blur, or motion blur in general. And that's why I personally do not like playing with motion blur, so I put it on afterwards to make it look smoother because of the low frame rate. And yeah, this is basically how I do my montages. Like I said, I'm not too advanced myself yet, so I can improve quite a lot, but I think I'm average with editing. So this is basically how I'm editing my stuff, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I think it's pretty much all for now, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and like Skill Faker out.